Hey everybody, I wanted to do a quick video on how I use the dome water sensors to automate the filling of my RODI water here for our fish tank and for our general house use. I wanted to not have to remember to turn the valve on all the time, that valve behind the dome. So what I did is I took two dome water leak sensors. There's the low, which would be the one down in the tank, and I did another one, RODI high, which would be at the high point where I want it to turn off. And I used two because I thought about using one and I could do it based on the dry or wet feature of that sensor, but then I would have to do it by seconds or so long after being dry. So Alexa, how many seconds in a week?
1 week is 604,800 seconds.
So I could set one sensor to be that amount of delay from being dry before it kicked on this water valve here. And that didn't seem like a great way to do it. So I used two. So when these water extensions are in the water, like this in the tank, everything is normal. The tank and the valve for it is off. But to get it kick on, and I'll show you the rules I did for this, but as the water level drops in the tank, this sensor becomes dry. The water turns on, pressure comes up, and water starts flowing. So as the tank fills up down here with the water, it gets wet again. Nothing happens. Maybe you can hear the water in there. But the water will keep rising until it gets to my other sensor of RODI high, in which case when this one gets excuse me, when this one gets wet, water tank turns off, pressure drops, RODS turns off with those two sensors. That's with the top one in the water. And then again, maybe we can do this. As the water temperature, as the water volume drops, that one goes dry. Oops, I accidentally pulled out my bottom one and it turned on. So I got it hooked right here. Sorry. So again, the low value is currently wet. It'll be on because the high value is dry. So let's do that again. As the water comes up and gets to the top of the tank with this sensor, turns off. You can hear the water. All right, and as the water level drops from being used, the top sensor goes dry. No big deal there because our bottom is still wet, saying there's water in the tank. Water in the tank, and it falls. See if I can get that out. And it eventually comes out of the water. Turns the water on. And there it is. And these hang in the tank. Simple automation. This one will get wet again as the water fills up. Water will come up the tank to our top sensor. The valve turns off. And it stops. All I have to do is screw this back on there. There's the water turning off. So I'll just screw my lid back on there. I set my I set my length to where I want them to turn off in the tank. So when it gets just above the valve, there it goes again because I went dry. But I went just above the valve for the water to turn on because that's as low as I want it to get, so it kind of cycles out. And then of course the top of the tank is top of the tank. So that's how I use 2 sensors to automate and not worry about keeping my tank full. I hope that helps. Thanks everybody. And I'll add some shots here of my automation in the habitat.